Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with the final Q&A for probably this year, at least this season, for The Legend of Vox Machina, episode 12. As you guys can see, the cat has not moved. Barely at all, if at all. I feel like his head moved like, oh, and as I said it, he moved. Thank you, cat. You are alive and well. Anywho, I'm just shocked he's been there so long with the way I'm screaming. And I mean, in between I do intros and exits and I break and I pull. He's been there for like 3 or 4 hours at this point. Either way, last we saw, we got some more art. We got some interesting one-liners from Matt Mercer, Grey Griffin, and Tal'dorei. Sam and Travis in the last one were kind of, you know, sidelined. But, you know, I mean, that's to be expected at some point because the two of them are usually in the forefront and had that whole intro to do. So, I mean, there wasn't a lot for them to do in the last episode. It was more so a Briarwood type episode and Percy. I mean, this whole arc involves Percy. So obviously Tal'dorei, Grey, and Matt have a lot more to do with this. I did find it interesting, though, that they did explain how Travis and Sam, unless I misunderstood, I feel like they said Travis and Sam have a lot more to do with this all coming together because this is like their full-time job, as opposed to, I'm assuming they have other things to do or maybe are involved with other aspects, whereas they're more involved with the actual show itself or it all coming together. I don't know. That's what I felt like they were trying to say in the last episode. Either way, let's jump into this because I feel like this might be another 20 or 30 minutes long, just this one alone. So you guys want to be way ahead, full unedited episodes, all the shows on the channel, seasons edit, what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you only see on Patreon. The link is at the end. If not, here we go. The final Q&A for season 1 of The Legend of Vox Machina. Episode 12, The Darkness Within. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Look at that.
We did it. It's over. Good night. Season 1.
Sleep forever. Great.
Just kidding, there's a season 2.
But Delilah's dead. We got to say goodbye to Grey Griffin.
Yeah, sleep is not a thing that happens.
No, I've got to go back to my family.
No, we still have more questions.
Oh, right. Okay, good.
question?
Thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, like, whoa.
Oh man.
There's your name. I saw your name.
What's happening?
Saw a lot of questions in chat about.
It looked like Mika just like zoned out there for a second.
No.
About when season 2 is going to drop. We don't know.
You heard it here first,
we
folks.
would
No
tell you.
fucking idea.
We don't know. We don't know.
I thought we might get some info on that.
We'd say we know, but we're not telling you because we enjoy
It's
that.
not done.
Yeah,
We
but
don't
like,
know.
legitimately, no idea.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd have to be
Nope.
around a year. Like, you know, typical.
So how do we know that you're not lying right now?
Ooh, boy.
Right. And,
No, we're not.
But do you know?
That we're not lying?
No, that do you know?
Oh, I know I'm not lying.
But do you know what day it comes out?
No.
Oh.
No.
My God, you're just confusing me, people.
Like Zone of Truth.
You know.
Do you know? All right, well, let's have some
That's like,
questions that you can
I do that all the time. I just cry all the time. I do it all the time.
Guns are typically not a weapon one sees in fantasy settings, and that fact is baked into how Percy's firearms are presented in the world as
That's the
durable
end of my
but dangerous
beverage.
inventions. So talk to us about the narrative
Got one.
gravity that Percy's invention has and why there's such a big deal.
Oh boy. So like all of my irritating characters for D&D, I was having a bad year in processing some trauma and some stuff around death, like you do. I had a kind of shitty, honestly, especially compared to what actually got made, pretty shitty script that I'd written a couple years previously about what would inspire someone to actually create the very first gun and like how weird and twisted that was and sort of what would lead to that, like how would, if you were smart enough to figure that out, you were probably also smart enough to know that was a terrible idea in kind of the Oppenheimer. And then as we were putting it together, I also was listening to Black Rider, the like Tom Waits version of Die Freischütz, and about a guy who sells his soul to the devil for magic bullets that never miss, except there's one.
It sounds like Tal'dorei was going
the devil wants to, but he
through
doesn't
some
know
dark
which one it
shit.
is. So he slowly just starts using too many of them until he just sucks. good show, Black Rider, if you're ever in the mood.
I never heard
And
of
with
it.
all of that and like, you know, layers of dealing with trauma and other things, we were hopping in a game and I'm like, this is a thing I've never
He
done
was
before.
saying
Do you mind if
death.
I get
I'm
weird?
assuming
And,
like someone very important to him
that
died
usually lets me get weird.
Yeah.
around that time. I mean,
Incorporating
obviously
firearms
people
into, like,
die.
a fantasy role-playing game setting. But we were playing Pathfinder at the time, and there was a actual gunslinger, like, mechanic, you know, class you could play. And he brought up this concept, and I was like, this is the one concept I would be interesting in looking into, kind of the responsibilities and the unique kind of challenges and butterfly effect of somebody who's
just one.
who grappling with this creation. And I was like, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Give me a backstory, and I'll see if I can play with it. And
oh boy.
And did he? Oh,
I'd say it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
yeah.
viscerally. You know,
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
look where we are. I probably would have never known of it if they
So we
didn't
see a
explode into what they
different side
did.
of Delilah, and it's No Mercy Percy, my favorite kind of Percy, is laying
No
down
Mercy
his gory
Percy.
plans of vengeance for her. So what do you think is going through her head in that moment as he's deliciously detailing how he's going to tear her to pieces?
I think once she lost her love, it doesn't. I think she's just like accepted her fate, and she just doesn't. It's almost like kill me and put me out of my misery. I'm so, I'm just.
I feel like at a point that was the case, but then at some point, right before Cassandra jammed a sword through her throat, I feel like she changed her mind a little.
It was very frustrating.
You didn't even get to hurt me.
No, I think that's what
hurt myself.
I think I think that's what the speech was about. Was like, I need something. Give me anything.
Yes.
Wake up. Wake up.
Yes,
Ah!
yes. Poke. Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, my husband's dead. Who
I
cares?
know, I know. It's
Also, that's so much effort that she put into bringing him back for it just to be wasted.
Yeah.
That must also suck.
But I love that she had to really get one in right even before the end, because she was like, somebody kill me right now because I'm in such pain, so I'm just going to say the meanest stuff I can come up with so I can just be out of here as soon as possible. Yeah.
Nice strategy. So we finally discover what the fuck is wrong with Percy other than severe trauma. And the final battle of the season ends up between Percy and his demon versus the rest of Vox Machina. So, to everyone, walk us through how you guys chose to pace this reveal and why Percy's inner demons end up being the penultimate threat.
I turned to Sam.
Oh, I mean, well, in the campaign, correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, us battling Orthax was more of a traditional battle. Like he manifested in corporeal-ish form.
Yeah.
Or they.
I watched
and
this
we
whole
battled
thing
Orthax,
earlier today.
Until hit points were at 0, basically.
Yeah, it was a textbook RPG battle.
It was amazing. I'm going to edit it up later for you guys, probably for tomorrow or Saturday.
Hey, you guys have characters. Do damage and win.
Of course, because that's how the game works. But this is animation, so we get to delve into so much more cool mind fucky stuff. And
That's the technical term.
Yes, I learned that in college. Mind fucky stuff.
Story in the action elements as well. We just came off of an episode where everyone is engaged in high action. Yeah, it's all visceral, and that's great. But we also don't want to see just the good guys going after the bad. We want to see we want to twist it. We want to make one of the good guys part of the bad guy, and you have to figure out how do you take down the one thing without hurting the other. And so that sort of interest was important to us.
And also the whole season was about Percy's torment and about revenge and
I'm loving all
a
these
question
answers are
about
great.
revenge, and we had to give it an answer, right? And so and the real way to do that is by examining what's going through Percy's mind, and the only way to do that is by going inside Percy's mind. It was really an ode to Taliesin.
Thank you. and all of my damage as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was so much talk about how to pace out that story and how to move it and make sure that we never gave too much and we never got to it any place
That
too
looks
quickly.
awesome.
And
Look at the smoke mask.
it was very difficult, and I'm very impressed by how well you guys.
I'm trying to see the differences. They're very similar, but
The season could have been avoided if Percy was just like, let me tell you guys what's actually going on. but he didn't.
know,
Yeah.
That was a big thing. He's in massive he would go somewhere
dig
else
it.
when this happened and he was deeply repressed. And
Speaking of going somewhere
very
else, there's
similar,
also
but
cool art there.
I dig it.
Of
I'm like,
Orthax
I
kind
love
of
the
on
art.
Percy's face there. And the design that we saw of Percy enmeshed with Orthax wasn't the first design.
Oh,
There was
they're
actually
showing
an
it.
alternate look that was thrown out, and it's
Oh,
pretty
that's got
cool.
2 layers, it
Look at that.
Yeah,
says.
this is the
Round eye,
manifestation of
almond
Orthax when
eye.
you start
Oh,
to become
okay.
more corporeal and actually taking over for the plague mask, which is what you see earlier.
It's
in the
really
season.
cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we were debating eye shape and stuff in some of these drawings, but then we also we
I feel like the
sensed
almond shape is much more
exploration
scary.
of like what Percy might look like, you know, when Orthax has completely taken him over.
I mean, that's cool,
We just kind of let him off the chain, and we were like, "What?"
but I feel like I like what they did better.
These
Like,
are-
oh my god.
These are really, really fucking cool. They're
I mean, it is very cool.
yes, it is a good hand. Like,
But it's almost like a suit,
really
and I
fucking
dig
good.
the smoke
This
and
is
the
like
mystery
the
behind
the
it.
play arts alternate, you know, figure of Percy Orthax.
Yeah.
What is
So
play
it's like,
arts? I don't know what play arts is.
What we're going for,
it-
but it's fucking
It
awesome.
looks like a Final Fantasy final boss.
Yeah,
character.
I can
Like,
see that.
Absolutely, you have to hit each one of those eyes. Before
Honestly,
you start
I
taking
just
it
watched
out.
Adventure Time where Finn is in
By
Jake's
the
suit, and it
campaign
reminds me of that
still
when he's in
playing at the time,
Jake's
when we
suit,
saw the
but
design, we were
darker,
like,
obviously.
The funny thing is, the
Look at
campaign
it.
we're in now, this is actually pretty appropriate for with
I
all
was gonna
those
say,
eyes
do you
all
guys have like a
everybody.
thing for red eyes everywhere?
Seemed
Like,
to be at that time.
Minus eyes. Minus eyes.
Minus eyes.
So, the cliffhanger.
Ah,
Can we talk about that? What the fuck's going on?
You mean just those innocent winged creatures on,
Oh,
on
you mean the
migrational
doves?
pattern?
Yeah, the doves just
Yeah.
flying north
I mean,
for the winter.
the seasons
Doubts
are
that
changing.
Released them
Mika?
and they just
be like
made the
Dragon's Guard.
party so
Yeah.
festive.
Yeah, so, well, I mean,
I'm
if
very
dragons are
curious
flying
if they
over the
tap
mountain,
into
what are they doing?
things
Are they
I don't
flying over
know.
for, like a festival? Are they coming to see the sights? What's up with those dragons?
There's only one way to find out. I'm sure it's totally innocent.
Is it
They seem
watchable?
fine. They seem lovely.
they do.
Also, the
They seem
keen-eyed
lovely.
viewers might recognize a certain encounter from the first 2 episodes of this season.
Oh.
And perhaps the ramifications of those actions now coming to
Interesting.
bear fruit at the end of the season.
Just like in the home game.
Yeah.
Exactly like in the home.
Does it have something to do with dragons?
It might.
It might.
I mean,
I don't know. It
yeah.
could be a bit of a leap, but it feels like it.
I feel like it might have a little.
So they're retaliating for the death of the dragon in the beginning.
That's a season 2.
Is what
You
I'm-
guys don't know when that is happening.
So we're not going to get any info. They're hiding everything, which I appreciate.
I
Nice
hope I
plug,
come
Sam.
back because I've done a lot of shopping. Online. I was very responsible.
Do you mind if we answer some questions from the chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
By all means.
Some people were wondering, what is one moment from the campaign that you were not able to include in these episodes, but you wish you could?
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, like things can get flipped all the way around, so it's just because it isn't here now doesn't mean it won't be there later.
Yeah, that's why
Giving
spoilers are a
nods,
thing
the rock
still.
and the cows and the
They could
bear and
mix
the
it up.
sheep, or the door scene between
And I saw the
Percy
cows
Jackson
scene. I've
and
reacted
not
to
being at
the
church, but
Campaign
actually
1
being at
cows.
The prison, like we tried to connect and pay homage to all those little things.
And they still could throw it in, even if it's out of order.
I mean, we talked about it a little today. Like, I really wish we could have gotten a bit more Briarwood backstory in there, just because that stuff's so juicy to me. But we ran out of time and stuff. But yeah, no, I think most of the key moments from this arc, anyway, we managed to sneak in there in some way or another. I don't think there's anything that I regret.
I feel like Travis just said, they could always throw it in later. Maybe not quite the same, but
We're always messing with, either because it's more interesting or because it'll connect well to something that's coming up, and so things get moved and shifted constantly. It's something that we really want to do to make sure that it stays fresh, like we said.
Yeah, so just because you didn't see it in this season where
Boom.
maybe it was supposed to be, doesn't mean it won't come back in some form or other in future seasons.
and now that they know they've got everyone hooked, they could play around more and take chances.
What is one scene in this season that was your favorite to record for everybody here?
Oh boy, our favorite to record?
I feel like the drowning thing, like he was doing last.
For me at the end.
Those were some good blood gurgles.
I like a good death gurgle. Yeah.
I really love the very first Orthax mask. And I mean, like, so much of that was so much fun because that is my bread and
episode
butter.
3?
Episode 3.
I was gonna say when he
got to like do the
finally
voice and, like,
confronted the Briarwoods.
move from the angry to the awesome, and just like start to like gravel and like, this is everything I ever wanted.
It's the one line, the way, like, it's like, oh, Shit's getting real.
I loved yelling at y'all with the and you
Honestly,
you know,
that's
like
when
such
I
a
realized
great moment of-
where
of,
the
like,
direction
that.
was
I
going,
loved
and it
every
was
moment of it.
impactful. You could say that.
I enjoyed recording my music. The vocals for the music was fun because I did it at home alone, and usually like at midnight.
Drunk and belted
when
out.
my kids had gone to sleep and stuff, I would be like, all right, this is my time, the house is quiet. I can go in there and I can sing and not no one will.
He must have a very.
Yeah.
He must have had a very. I can't think of the word I'm trying to use. Voice dampening, soundproof. What am I, an idiot? He must have had a very soundproof room. If he could belt out, pull out my motherfucking beads with his kids sleeping at midnight.
When Grog has that big, I would like to rage moment. We recorded episode 2, and we did it very much like we did.
I feel like the loudest, boisterous moments.
Rage, and that was it. And we came back and recorded episode 3, and Mary Elizabeth was like, "Is that all you got?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" And she was like, "Do it again." So we came back in at the end of the episode and just like took a big breath and just went for like the biggest one possible. She was like, "Got it." So good. Yeah, Mary Elizabeth just always
2
took
from
us to that
episode
next
3. Look at
level
that.
from, you know, we
Episode
know our
3.
character so well, but
Major shit.
was an amazing conductor.
Yeah.
I have to say, she is one of the best directors I've ever worked with. Because you start to get a little fat.
Mary
and happy
Elizabeth,
doing
we've
this,
talked
you're just
about
like,
her
"That's
often."
good," you know, I mean, and then she always like, because she's such a good actress, she'll be like, "What about?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I need to." Yeah, you're right. I need to like wake up and just start putting a little more of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kick you out of your chair.
Yeah. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, of course.
I remember also, and I'll just brag on the twins again. I remember when one of the first episodes we went and, you know, got margaritas after we had recorded, and we got to sit down with Laura and Liam, and just hearing the twins really sink into like the heart of those two characters. There were also times where like other people's performances, whether it was Taliesin dropping really low or the screams or hearing the twins connect in that way, that everybody just kind of looked around and went like, okay, we're playing this kind of ball now, and everybody's game.
Yeah, you
kind of
play off
rose
each
to
other.
that moment, and it happened multiple times. But Laura and Liam always just sort of level set. For
I
us
feel like
and
that's
just
in
sink
most
in.
things. You set the mood, so to speak, and then you all play off each other, and you go with that. That's why I feel like it's always good if you're not familiar. Have a drink or
So
two.
solid and consistently
Relax,
solid, they're
break
like
up the nerves.
acting heart of the show. They're both
Good
so
kids
good.
in the family.
Yeah.
Nobody pays attention because they're like, well, of course, they're the good kids.
Yeah, they're so good.
Hey, everybody watching, go tweet at both of them and tell them they're amazing.
I just did it. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Matt, did you have a favorite moment to record? You
Only
did so
which weapons
much.
have to be checked. No. I think
That was the guy he
I don't
played
know,
in the
I-
first
for
couple.
Me, honestly, some of the
What was it, the
aside from,
first
like, Vortex
episode?
stuff with you, which got to like kind of dig into my best kind of like Mark Hamill pocket of like eating the scenery. I think for other than that, I think it was the subtle kind of couple.
Mark
stuff
Hamill,
with Delilah,
voice of
like in
the
early
Joker.
episodes especially where it's like. You know,
Luke Skywalker.
Don't worry, dear. It was nothing.
Yes.
all kind of like this is our daily life. We just go out, we make breakfast, we kill a few people, we work along, and like at the dinner party with the two of them, just kind of like talking with the party. It's like just this kind of like comfortable confidence when they're both arm in arm amongst other people. This kind of like.
I was gonna say very cocky.
I know what
That's
you
how
know.
I look at it.
Impervious
Like,
to-
yeah, like nothing's gonna like we can talk about no filter. Don't do whatever we want.
Those robbers. That was like, well, you know, they were assholes.
Sometimes you gotta hit him with a tree.
Yeah, the first time we saw him with the robbers.
Well, I wish that we had more questions, but that's it. We did it, critters.
We did it.
We did
it,
it.
Susan.
We did it, critters.
And we
Yeah.
really did it, critters. Like together, you made this
Seriously.
happen. You showed your amazing support for this from the very beginning, and I hope you're as proud as we are because you made this happen. This is
You
incredible.
did this.
You did this.
So, with all of these accolades, let's send the season 1 off with a bang,
With a
shall we?
bang.
Literally, with a bang. All right, you ready?
Are we
You ready?
counting this down?
All right.
Oh, we got like party favors.
On after 1.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1,
okay.
and then after 1, it's 1, and then we're gonna do it. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Sam didn't even do his. Sam didn't even do his, and then scared the shit out of Matt. She didn't do hers either.
Oh no, it's in the lights.
It's like a bad book. I did it was like, I didn't.
I love you, Gray. I'm so happy you're here. It was almost in my face.
It's like a bad blowjob. Oh my God.
Oh, just like a bad. Okay. Does it smell like cum in here? So that's season 1. I want to thank
my
my
God,
guests.
they're
Matt,
hilarious.
Travis, Sam, and Gray. I've been Mika Burton. I won't be any longer.
Look at Matt is like truly red, but knows this is what got them there. Like that kind of talk and that kind of shit got him here. Amazing, guys. Gray, I mean, do I need to even say anything at this point? Whether she's drinking or not, it doesn't matter. At the end, she compares her explosive firework to a bad blowjob. She's like, yeah, it doesn't work, just like a bad blowjob or something. And then they keep going with it. It's almost like when you know somebody says something they shouldn't, and then you're like, oh, I got somebody that doesn't know how to. It's almost like they know she doesn't have a filter, so they egg her on, because if they wanted her to stop, they would just cut it. Instead, they just build off of the awkward moment, and it just gets greater. And I love everything about it. We see a lot more art dealing with Orthax, and they basically had a full body suit that Percy was going to kind of wear, I guess. Eyes all over it. There was much more broader, muscular versions of it. I dig the way they did it. I said this before. I pretty much agree with every choice they've made in this show. I feel like the suit would have not been a bad idea, but I feel like it would have took away from what they did with the whole smoke entity behind it. It gave more of a mystery, more of an evil, supernatural feel, like you didn't know what it was. I feel like if he had a suit on, you would have thought it was something more organic or something like more combined with Percy as opposed to a separate entity that was kind of just floating around him. I wouldn't have hated the suit, but I feel like the way they're trying to convey what's going on and the way the whole story unraveled and everything, the whole smoke thing made more sense. They showed how they did multiple layers with the smoke way earlier before they went and did like the whole entity itself. They had the diamond shaped eyes, or the almond shaped eyes, the round eyes. There was a double layered smoke look, but I love when they show us the art, always coming through with the art look. In the beginning, they talked to Percy about where all this came from, and he said that he was dealing with some trauma in his life, some death in his life, unless I misunderstood. I'm assuming people know what he's talking about, but he didn't go into specifics with that. All he said was how he was in a very dark place. He was watching or listening to something called The Black Rider. I'm guessing it was a older show. Something about making a deal with the devil and having bullets that do the devil's bidding or something like that. Or maybe I'm elaborating on that, but he was in a dark place. He's watching that kind of stuff. And then they were talking about the gunslinger mechanics in the game itself and how Matt was like, hey, if you want to do something like that, I'll definitely build on it. It's an interesting concept. And then they went from there, and obviously you see it worked. They talked about at the end, one of the last questions was whether or not there was any moments from the campaign that they didn't get to put in the actual series. And I figured they'd say what they said, because I think they said that in a previous Q&A, not in this 3, but another set of 3, that even if there's something they wanted to put in that they couldn't, aka the cows thing that I've reacted to, there's an origin comparison to the cows. Go watch it. It's on my channel if you haven't. But even if there's something they wanted to put in that they couldn't, they could just put it in out of context or out of order in another season just to touch on it enough so you as a fan or me or somebody would understand what's going on. Even if it's slightly different, they could still infuse it into other seasons, or they could probably even like go back to other things. Like say something happens in Whitestone and they're not in Whitestone right now. I would assume at some point in this entire campaign, we would return to Whitestone, at least to see what Cassandra's doing. I mean, Percy's family came from there and we set her up now there. So even though I'm feeling like we're going to go away, we don't have to not ever return. So I feel like if something happened there and they want to do it again, they could go back and do it. The last thing I want to talk about is they say, and they even joked about it, how even if you knew, you probably wouldn't tell us, but we really don't know. But if we did know, we wouldn't. They're going in circles. Like if we did know, we would tell you, or would we, or wouldn't we? I don't know. And then they go around the board and everyone kind of does and says similar things. They claim they don't know when season 2 is coming out. I have to assume, based on the popularity, because I see this popping up everywhere now, that they're going to get this out by about a year from now, like around January, maybe even earlier. But I've seen new shows get renewed and immediately come out with a season 2 within a year. So It's easily possible that they could do this. They talked about at the end, though, how they weren't really going to spoil anything or talk about anything. They told us winged creatures, dragons were spoken of. Obviously, we know they're dragons. They basically touch on, if you remember what happened in the first 2 episodes, and something happened with the death of a guy and blah, 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 and we know what's going on. They killed a dragon in the first 2-parter with Tal'dorei, and now they're coming back for revenge, I'm assuming. I'm told in the comments these are much older, wiser, stronger dragons, but they kept it pretty quiet. We don't really know what's going on, and I only want to know what they want to tell me. So I told you guys in the other videos, I have watched 3 to 4 hours of Campaign 1 content that I could relate to the actual show, The Legend of Vox Machina. A big giant battle with Orthax, the death of Delilah, which is much more drawn out and epic. And then there's a lot more dealing with Percy's gun and the whole trauma and ordeal. I'm probably going to chop it into 3 episodes. I'm also going to throw out the intro of this and then episode 10, 11, and 12. So there's going to be plenty of content coming out. And that's if nobody else sends me more time-stamped Origin content, or if other people don't throw up Origin content. Either way, we're going to have tons of stuff to watch, and after all of it, at some point this weekend, I'm going to drop Campaign 2. I've already reacted to the first quarter, I'd say, of the first episode of Campaign 2. I did the character introductions all the way up to the first hour of the first episode of Campaign 2. So that'll come out at some point too. But if you guys want to be way ahead, full on edited episodes of all the shows on the channel, seasons out of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives you only see on Patreon, the link is in front of me. If not, comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.